Hello, this is Strategy Miscellany, and this is episode 7 of my Children of a Dead Earth campaign. And the next mission here is on the surface of giants. So in this case, the USTA has a methane depot that's really close to Neptune in a polar orbit, and basically skims the atmosphere for methane, and then can refuel their defense fleet, which is normally based around Triton, to allow it to go to the rest of the Neptunian system or interplanetary. Now, the advantage that they have with this is that this depot is really hard to get to. It takes a lot of Delta V to get there, and so it's hard for anyone to attack it. But we've made a deal with the Iroquois Resurgence to launch from an inner moon of Polyphemus and do a strike on that before the USTA can react. We have to do it within 4 days. And you could choose your own ships for this mission, but honestly, I think the base ships they choose for you are really good. They give you this hydrogen tanker here that has a bunch of hydrogen to refuel with. It's got almost 15 kilometers of Delta V by itself. And they give you this privateer here, which by itself has 9.46 kilometers per second of Delta V. And the privateer has these sniper nuclear missile launchers, so that the missiles it has have another 3.5 kilometers of Delta V. So you put that all together, you can get missiles to impact the station pretty reliably. There's some fiddly stuff you have to do with close-in orbits, but I'll demonstrate how I've been able to beat it in the past. So that last time, I got screwed up spatially, and I was orbiting Neptune the opposite direction as the methane depot. And so I was able to get my missiles on an intercept, but they came in at about 34 meters per second, and it was so fast that I think something with the frame rate meant they didn't have time to blow up the enemy station as they went by. So we're going to have to try this again and actually do it the right way, where we match orbits with the station. First step, get off Polyphemus here. Second step, set the frame of reference to Neptune. And let's see. There's their ship. Which way is it orbiting again? Using this nice little arrow. So it's coming down on this side, so we want to basically burn downwards a bit ahead of the orbital node here. We want to burn like this to get our planes to match, because it is coming up and over the top of Neptune, just like we would be. Yes. Okay, so what you gotta do is do sort of a burn and decelerate simultaneously kind of thing here. So that gets us started here. Do that big burn, and then we can refuel the hydrogen tanker. We can refuel the privateer from the hydrogen tanker. And the hydrogen tanker carries a lot more fuel than the privateer, so we can do that and still have a lot of fuel in the tanker. You can see the tanker still has 6 kilometers per second of Delta V left after refueling the privateer. So now we want to do some more plane changing and some more deceleration. Whoa, not that much. So I'm going to do like this, except with a bit more plane change thrown in there too. We're getting real close to matching orbits in the plane category there. Go ahead and burn through, and let's refuel the privateer again. Still have a tiny bit of fuel left in the tanker, but I'm going to go ahead and abandon the tanker here in this orbit, leave it a little bit of station keeping room, and then continue the mission with just the privateer. Well, there's the orbital node. What if we burn about here to get our alignments together? That looks pretty good. And then we also want to decelerate at the same time. Alright, we're getting real close to matching their orbit while being slightly above it. And we've got another 6 to kind of perfect the issue. 6 kilometers per second of delta V, I mean, to perfect the issue. So let's go like that. And come screaming in to get our periapsis closer. And you can see this time we're actually orbiting the same direction, which is good. There we go. There we're actually getting into where we can even match their orbit. And you know what? Let's do that. Okay, it takes a lot of work, but we can actually match their orbit, so let's do that. Now, the problem is, of course, we're behind them, and we're going to be behind them forever. But our missiles don't have to be. So we're right here, on the surface of giants, as it were, with Neptune right next to us, even if it's not really a surface, it's an atmosphere. And sending out 25 of these sniper missiles. And then what I'm going to do with these sniper missiles is basically the depot is ahead of me. I could catch up to it by going lower, but there's not really room. So instead, I'm going to let the depot catch up to me by burning and raising my apoapsis a little bit here. And I'm not going to do it quite this much. I'm going to let it happen slowly that they catch up to us. So I'm just going to start like this. We're going to wait for the right moment. So now they're slowly catching up to us. And at the right moment, I'm going to basically try and merge our orbits here. I think this looks pretty close to the right moment, actually. Here, we can calculate a flyby. Unfortunately, the system says it ends in collision, so it won't allow us to do it. What if I did an intercept here? Okay, it's trying something wacky and doesn't have nearly enough delta V. So what I really need to do now is, now that we're getting close to them, I want to actually set them as the frame of reference. See if that helps me figure out an actual way to impact them. So let's start a trajectory right here. You can see how we've got this kind of loop effect going. Problem is it's ahead of them. But by messing with our burns, we should be able to get an actual intercept. You can see how close we're getting there. I mean, I think what we basically need to do is get a little closer there and then try this again. Basically just doing some very subtle maneuvering here to attempt to actually impact the darn place. So, lower down to just, well, we can do 10 minutes first. Yeah, you can see where we're getting right in there with them. Okay, I can even do an intercept there and let the computer do it for me at this point. So now in 45 minutes, we will be there. Let me look at what this looks like from the Neptune frame of reference. You can see how our orbits are intersecting.
Incoming trans.
And now, bright lights warning in about 20-30 seconds or so, maybe a little sooner, because our missiles are going to take out their methane depot in a flash of nuclear fire. You can see us accelerating towards them. There's Neptune below, or next to us, kind of. And any second now... Kaboom! We've done it. You can see their methane depot is pretty much destroyed. So, not quite fast enough to get that record, but good enough to get a Delta V record, and we can move on for now to the next mission. So this one, basically, the Nippon Prime faction has finally declared aside and entered into an alliance with the USTA. And so we are having a crisis over Venus. They've launched a fleet at Venus, and we need to have a defensive fleet at Venus. The nice thing is we get to pick our own ships. I'm going to use some of the stock ships I designed in the extras video about designing ships from stock modules. I have a drone carrier here with 50 Stinger drones on it. I have a couple of medium laser ships with the advantage that they can fire 3 of these green lasers at once. And I have a couple of these railgun frigates designed for broadsiding, with a bunch of railguns and sniper coil guns on one side, and the radiators intended to be protected behind the other side. So, what are we facing here? They've got a hive ship, which is sort of an odd idea that never seems to work very well in my experience. It has these nuclear cannons here that launch miniature nukes, but mostly I think they blow themselves up, or if they get hit, it destroys the ship. They've got these auto-fire railguns, they've got Lancer drones. Then they've got the Corvette, which is kind of the ship my railgun ship is attempting to be the Corvette killer, essentially, the better version of the Corvette. They've got a Corsair here with a flak coil gun, some auto-fire railguns. It's an okay ship. And they've got this cutter here with just basic cannons and lasers. I think it can actually fire 3 lasers at once, though. So, props to it for that, but it seems like the cannons are a bit of a weak spot on this guy. And here we are. Here they are. I'm going to go ahead and run forward an hour and see what they do first. Looks like basically nothing. Let's try and set up an intercept. Yeah, what if we just do an intercept on them right here? Unless they dodge, this should work pretty well to start. They are sending out a few Lancer drones, that's okay. Not really worried about those. But it looks like they are willing to give battle here.
Incoming transmission.
So here we are, here they are. For some reason they're moving away, that's odd. So it must be something to do with the intercept. But we are pretty close together here. I'm going to set all of my fleet to homing to have them basically charge in so that we can get closer to them. And I've got the Hive ship here. I'm going to target their nuke cannons, their drone launchers, their railguns, and their radiators. The Corvette, targeted weapons and big radiators. The Corsair, same. The Cutter, target the cannons and the radiators. And I am going to have my drone carrier launch a flight of drones here. Now the thing is, somehow, I don't know if this is a glitch or something, but we're ending up intercepting each other at extremely close range. So I don't even need to turn on the safeties on my weapons, turn off the safeties on them. They're already automatically set to basically be in point-blank range and start blasting. Which could be dangerous for us too. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, you can see we're all just firing immediately. So much is happening. I think the Hive ship destroyed itself, because I don't see it here anymore. Yeah, the Hive ship blew itself into 2 pieces here. It's just not a very good design. 2 pieces, neither of which works anymore. And then there's just intense fire going back and forth at point-blank ranges. Took out their cutter. They just have the Corsair and the Corvette. Corsair has been disarmed. And the Corvette has been disarmed. Let me see what kind of losses we took here. Well, we lost a laser turret mount. Not bad, though. Looks like most of our ships are basically in full fighting condition. I can't really credit my ships too much for that. A lot of that was luck of how we got that weird intercept with them at point-blank range. And kind of got the jump on them in a way. So let's go back. And now, unfortunately, the mission isn't quite won yet because we have to take out their obnoxious little flight of Stinger drones there. I'm going to go ahead and detach my Stinger drones from the fleet and just bring my capital ships. And we're going to try and get a quick intercept on these guys. Yeah, something like this to start with. So that we come flying in, so that we kind of meet each other about the same time. And now I just need to fine-tune this into an actual intercept. I'm going to go ahead and use the trick where we set them as the frame of reference. There we go, we have an intercept. And basically, we just need to shoot down their drones. I'm going to have my railgun frigates orient broadside, and my drone carrier orient broadside. My laser ships are going to go nose forward, because that's how their weapons are set up. And I'm going to take the range limitations off on some of these here, like the sniper coil guns. They're good at range. And yeah, so the sniper coil guns on the railgun frigates, and then on the laser ships, I'm going to take the range limit off on their lasers. And we're going to try and take out the railguns on these Lancer drones. And hopefully, we will do a good job. Alright, looks like they ran themselves out of Delta V, burning in. And And unfortunately, we only still have the silver, even though we beat the time elapsed and the ship's alive, because we weren't able to keep 71% of our ships unscathed. We did take some fire, of course. I think to do that, you'd basically have to beat this with ranged weapons. So the next mission, we'll be going back to Neptune with Dusk over Triton, and basically sending a fleet from Nereid, an outer moon of Neptune, to Triton. And we get to pick our own fleet again. Looks like they give us an escort carrier and a silo ship and a methane tanker. That's not what I would bring. Maybe the small methane tanker just to refuel the rest of my ships. But I think I'll bring ships of my own design for the rest of it. Their ships are not great, honestly, in this one. I mean, the gunship and the corvette are fine ships. The gunship's a great ship. Silo ship glitches half the time and blows itself up. Solar Lance seems like a good idea, but the aperture of this laser is a real weak spot. It just never does as much damage as you expect. You can build ships with crazy powerful Doomstar lasers that blast things from a million miles away. The Solar Lance just isn't a good example of that, though. So, we will do that next time, though. This was episode 7. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.